Roguelikes. They tend to have a few defining factors. Primarily that when you die, you have to start over. And what makes that fun instead of infuriating— actually no, it's still infuriating sometimes— is that every time you play, you're gonna get different items that change up your gameplay. Unique buffs or weapons, new encounters, entirely different ways of experiencing this game. And this is exactly why ego gifts are so important, the titular item system in this roguelike-styled game mode. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it isn't really a roguelike, it's more like it just has roguelike-inspired elements, but that's neither here nor there. There are some goofy team comps you can build with the right ego gifts, and there are some that entirely make or break challenge runs, like solos. Soloing with N Corp Merceau basically requires his precious ketchup, for example, so that way he can reliably retain health. Most gifts relate to a specific status effect, since teams centered around statuses are likely what you're going to be playing with the most often. One of the most fun builds, in my opinion, are bleed teams. Bleed is a form of true damage that occurs whenever the enemy attacks, defends, or clashes. This makes it especially good against enemies that have a lot of coins on their attacks. An enemy with 4 coins on a skill will take 4 times more damage from bleed than an enemy with single coin attacks. However, this causes an interesting problem that you'd never see on any other type of team build: stagger. Stagger immobilizes you for the next turn and doubles all damage taken. It's pretty vital to taking down your enemies, and can spell defeat for your own units if you aren't careful. But with bleed specifically, this can actually prevent you from maximizing your damage output in some situations, as enemies can only take bleed damage when they're not staggered. So, in some cases, the double damage output still won't be as beneficial as however much bleed damage you can deal. This is where the gift White Gossypium comes in. At level 1, which is the level that we're mostly going to be looking at in this video, the description is as follows. Turn start. If there are staggered enemies, unstagger enemies. Then inflict formula 8 plus stagger level times 4 bleed potency, and 8 plus stagger level times 4 divided by 2 offense level down on them. Activates once per enemy per encounter, does not activate against certain enemies that do not recover from stagger. So I think you can see the use here. By unstaggering enemies on a bleed team, then lowering their offense level and thus lowering enemy coin rolls, you can stack up bleed damage. More often than not, you can deal more damage and bleed with this than you could just wailing on the enemy while it was staggered. Though, there is an argument that can be made that in most cases, having the 2 times damage from stagger would still be better. It's really a give and take, and it depends heavily on both your team and the enemy you're facing. But you can also see a bigger problem here as well. That being the simple fact that, wow, this gift would suck to get on anything that isn't a bleed team fighting enemies that love to clash. And yeah, that's exactly what tended to happen. Let me take you back. Back to a time where Uptie 4 wasn't even a twinkle in our eyes. Back to a time when we got 3 whole battle pass points for clearing a mirror dungeon. All the way back to Season 1, Orientation. Isn't it beautiful? Here in the mirror dungeon, you have to level up your units with choice encounters instead of being at a high level from the get-go. And just look at that UI, ooh la la. You have to count on random healing stations instead of static healing shops. And you have absolutely zero way of selecting a preferred gift type for your team comp. You get what you get here. And you better hope and pray to Lord Iron above that you never see this image. This is the image of a run killer. Don't let the 2 options here fool you, they are both the same. Approach it, pass a check, get the Gossypium. Wave back, do a fight, get the Gossypium. Imagine what would happen if you got this while using a Tremor team. Which, like, first off, why are you using a Tremor team? It's Season 1. Half the players didn't even know what Tremor did at this point, but more importantly, Tremor is all about staggering enemies. Dude, what's even the point in this if you can just get one item that makes it so you can't stagger enemies? On any team besides a bleed one, this is only a bad thing, since staggering is kind of important. One of my favorite ways this can utterly kill a run is from making Kurokumo Honglu useless. Yeah, believe it or not, Kurokumo Honglu is considered one of the best units on launch, especially in mirror dungeons. And this was entirely due to Cloud Cutter, which would reuse its 2 coins so long as the enemy didn't have too much bleed. Not many units could reach these kinds of roles at the time, let alone a 2-star, so yeah, he was considered pretty good. Huh. A unit who was once considered meta has fallen off immensely due to odd decisions with his kit catching up to him. Another unique problem this could cause was that of rolling Cromer as your final boss. Cromer was just someone you didn't want to use bleed against. It's as simple as that. Now, granted, if I'm remembering correctly, Cromer wasn't an encounter in MD1, but was in MD2. Even still, you'll see later that this gift still had issues in MD2, and either way, I couldn't verify my own claims here, so take my poor memory with a pinch of salt. I'm sure we're all well aware I'm prone to making minor errors that y'all just love to nitpick. I ended up finding this guide, which states that what you should do to avoid getting the Gossypium is to carry an emergency sacrifice center. So all you have to do is choose to wave back and then purposely lose the battle. I'm not re-recording that. and then Oh, am I gonna keep that take in? Oh my goodness.
Then
I ended up finding this guide, which states that what you should do to avoid getting the Gossypium is to carry an emergency sacrifice center on you. So you choose to wave back, and then just purposefully lose the battle, and not have to get the Gossypium. That is how much people hated this thing. After enough whining, Kim Ji-hoon just ended up coming out and saying,
Alright, I get it!
And now waving back makes you gain levels upon winning the battle. All was right in the world once more. When Season 2 dropped and Mirror Dungeons got rid of the leveling stuff, waving back would instead give you some cost upon winning the battle. We were now in an era where encountering the Gossypium was just mildly annoying instead of entirely infuriating. Like, yeah, it was a waste of an encounter, but it wasn't actively detrimental. But wait, what's that off in the horizon? A new way to get gifts in Season 2's Mirror Dungeon? When completing a risky encounter, there's a chance to receive a random gift. Oh no. Lottery was back. This time it made it so Tomorrow's Fortune was a necessary gift for retaining your sanity. Tomorrow's Fortune adds an extra gift choice, so there was no way to be locked into getting the Gossypium so long as you had the magic conch. Didn't help that Tremor was actually usable now. This was such a problem that they had to add the option to refuse ego gifts to the game. I'm not kidding. This was literally only added so you weren't forced to get the Gossypium, because you'd be stupid to turn down any other gift. This gift was so hated that Project Moon had to change game mechanics around it. Not once, but twice. It's safe to say this is still the most hated gift in the entire game. Even now in Season 4, people still tend to avoid it. But the question remains, was it really that bad? The answer is yes, but not really. But only sometimes. It's complicated. Look, I'm not gonna do my usual song and dance of explaining this gift in detail and describing team comps you could run with it. To me, it seems really obvious why it could be good. Especially against, like, I don't know, Silk Current or the Bug Bane of my existence, since they have a lot of coins and their gimmicks revolve around clashing. What really kills this gift, in my opinion, is just how utterly useless it is on other teams. There are plenty of gifts that won't change anything when used on teams not suited to its keyword, but at least those can still do a tiny bit. I'm not gonna lose sleep over, say, the amount of burn my sinking team is gonna do when I pass them the mainframe to smoke, but at least it's still doing something. It's like a less offensive form of Captain Ishmael's burn inflictions or Potential Man bursting tremor. Like, I'm not gonna lose anything from it being there, but when the time comes, I can fuse it into a gift I actually need or just sell it. White Gossypium, more often than not, is something I just avoid. A gift that harms most teams, a waste of an encounter. It's sad, you know? As much as I'm an advocate for Limbus pushing more unique and strange ways for us to play, I just don't think this is it. I want to like White Gossypium, I really do, but I just can't. I can't sit here and claim it's better than you think when I myself avoid it like the plague. I want more give and take ego gifts like this, but when they come, I just don't use them. At the end of the day, I think I just value convenience over actually fun strategies. Why waste my time playing with the Gossypium when all I want is to just get my weeklies over with? Now that I think about it, it's been a while since I've had fun playing Mirror Dungeon. I just kind of select whatever team will give me the most starlight and get it over with. I don't think anymore. I don't play with teams anymore. I don't even know when the last time I successfully did a solo run was. And the worst part is, I don't know what changed. Not when Mirror Dungeon is arguably in the best state it ever has been. When units have been the most unique and diverse they ever have been. Am I just getting jaded? Maybe I'm the problem. Wait, didn't I say earlier that I'd be talking about Gossypium at level 1 for most of the video? I mean, I doubt leveling it up could change the problems that are just baked into such a situational item. Oh. Yeah, okay, at level 3 I downright take back everything I said earlier. Even outside of bleed teams, this is useful. Not only does it apply way more of the statuses it applies, but also does defense level down. When this is the formula it's using to determine how much offense and defense level down the enemy takes, you're basically going to be doing stagger numbers while still applying bleed damage. When not playing a bleed team, all you need to do is have this and Wound Clarid to deal goofy amounts of damage. I went ahead and plugged the values of the most recent boss, Cassetti, into a level 3 Gossypium. And if I did my math right, that's 30 offense level and defense level down. That's genuinely insane. That is around minus 10 flash power whenever the gift is active. Well, okay, that's if you ignore the fact that Cassetti actually gains benefits from having bleed, so it actually balance out, but I just picked him because he's an example of recent health bars and stagger levels. Let's be real, anyone in their right mind would avoid Warp Express as their final stage of running bleed. I guess in the end, it really is all in how you use it. You know what? I'm gonna further take back what I said earlier. Add more gifts like Gossypium. Add gifts that annoy me, that I have to think about when using. Add more gifts that'll lead to endless fan discussion, and more importantly, arguments. Maybe that's the problem. We've been so coddled by brain-off gameplay that the moment a gift shows up that makes us think, we shun it. Think about Dongbeck or Ricardo. They were trying to send us a message. The Gossypium was a sacrifice all along, and we mustn't let it be in vain. Let us prove that we are not illiterate. We're just stupid! So, there you have it. Next time this guy waves at you, maybe you should just try being nice to it and see what happens. You might be surprised at what you can pull off with the Gossypium. Just make sure you aren't running Tremor if you do. Until next time, make sure to visit the Mines Weekly and savor the sound of your battle pass going up. Guess I should go ahead and put up the next patron poll. It's not like some unit's gonna release that's so insanely different from everything we've come to expect from this game that I'm immediately gonna have to make a video explaining it and the history behind— oh, motherfuck! Big thank you to this month's $5 patron, as well as my $10 patrons, Fish Gaylord, Aryaverse, Plume Knight, and Rain. And of course, thank you, the viewer, for watching.